Welcome to Best Fed Kid. Why does ditching formula and switching to blended diet solve so many health problems that Tubies face? There are 5 main answers to this question, mostly about one nasty ingredient found in all formulas that can cause chaos for Tubies. Formula is the commercially available feed for people with gastrostomies, while blended diet is when you blend whole foods into a smooth consistency that can be given through a feeding tube. Why is one so much better than the other? The first reason is growth. This is my son's weight chart, and it's typical for a child that switched from formula to blended diet. For the first 4 years of his life, he limped along the bottom of the chart, having formula piped into him. His growth was minimal, incredibly fragile. Then here, at this moment, just before his 4th birthday, we started blending whole foods to give him via his gastrostomy. Immediately, the weight started going up, as if his body were a greyhound released from a trap. This was a steep learning curve, struggling with the ninja blend that we had, sieving foods, dealing with his other health issues. I reckon it took us a year to gain confidence, and now here he is finally climbing up through the centiles and a healthy weight. This is his height graph. We started blended diet here, but it took a year for his body to achieve a healthy weight before it could start growing. Only once weight stabilises can the body think about going upwards. And again, here he is, at a very respectable height for a boy with his health issues. So why is this? Why did blended diet promote proper growth while formula stunted him? This is nutrition multifiber, the most common formula for Tubies in the UK. This is its ingredient list. In theory, on paper, they meet all a child's dietary needs. A doctor or dietitian can look you in the eye and say that this provides a full nutritional package, everything the body needs. It describes itself as nutritionally complete. However, it's a bit more complex than that. There are 55 ingredients on that list. Only 7 of them are natural. These 9 are kind of natural, but are highly processed and much harder for the body to absorb than their natural equivalents. This means that 39, these, are completely synthetic, created in a lab. They are far harder for the body to absorb than their natural equivalents, making formula far less nutritious than blended whole foods. For example, this ferrous lactate is synthetic iron. Iron is crucial for growth. In blended diet, one of the best sources for iron could be steak. The iron in this steak is easily absorbed by the gut and can be efficiently used to help growth. Synthetic ferrous lactate is difficult to absorb and the body can't take full advantage of it. Or this, chromium chloride, a synthetic lab-created version of chromium, crucial for regulating blood sugar levels to aid growth. It's naturally found in broccoli, from where the body can absorb it and use it far better, particularly when raw or lightly steamed and then blitzed into a blend. This is true for all of these 39 artificial nutrients. Each is simply a worse, less efficient, less available and less nutritious version of what whole foods provide. No wonder the body struggles to grow when given these feeble imitations of the vitamins it craves. It's very hard to eat entirely naturally. Frankfurters, bread, chocolate, all these things are delicious and it's incredibly hard to avoid all synthetic foods. But just this, every day, the exact same thing? With a blended diet, you get variety, hundreds of natural, easily absorbable and bioavailable vitamins, nutrients, antioxidants. This is the fruit and veg you can get at my local supermarket, and our Tubie will get at least some of each of these this week. The body can absorb them easily and quickly, and that means far better growth. The second reason things have changed is energy. As soon as we moved to blended diet, we saw a huge leap in energy levels. And this brings us to the very worst, most toxic thing about formula. The second ingredient on all formula ingredient lists after water is maltodextrin. This is Nutricia. This is Ensure. This is Nestle Nutrin with corn syrup second, essentially the same thing, and maltodextrin a little down the list. This is Gevity. They're all the same. Maltodextrin is just lab-created strings of sugars, totally synthetic sugar, a processed sugar extracted from starch in corn or wheat. 90% of a bag of formula is water. Of what remains, maltodextrin makes up about half. It is a terrible thing for the body to ingest, let alone be the main thing your nutrition depends on. This is the glycemic index, or the effect that foods have on your blood sugar level. The original glycemic index was on a scale of 1 to 100, with veg down at the bottom, moving up through fruits, meats, carbohydrates, and then up to pure sugar, with its GI rating of 100. Higher blood sugar is bad for many reasons. Your body builds up insulin resistance, and that leads to diabetes and other problems. But also this: the higher your blood sugar goes, the quicker it crashes, meaning you have sugar highs followed by lows and misery, something which anyone who's seen the aftermath of a kid's birthday party will be familiar with. The invention of maltodextrin meant that the scale had to be redrawn because it has a glycemic index of 110 or even more in some forms. I mean, you've heard of off the charts. This is higher than pure glucose, much higher than caster sugar. This creates a huge energy spike and crash. This graph shows your blood sugar after maltodextrin compared to other sugars, and then in red, isomalt, the sugar found in honey. With maltodextrin, the body gets a massive sugar high, and after just an hour and a quarter, it crashes, meaning the body is starved of energy, not just producing lethargy and moodiness, but if the body has no energy, it certainly doesn't have anything left in the tank to fuel growth. The alternative is slow-release, low GI foods, things like oats, sweet potato, pasta, brown rice. These give the body a small sugar bump, but release slowly enough to leave the body with the sustained energy it needs for growth. You don't have to be a glycemic fascist about it. We include white rice, potatoes, breadsticks too. It's fine. Literally anything whole food that you can include in a blend is going to be better than the massive sugar spike that maltodextrin creates. Maltodextrin is the definition of an empty calorie, just pure mainline short-term energy with no fibre, vitamins or minerals. It's a way that formula can claim on a label to fulfil the needs of a Tubie, while Tubies and their families have to deal with the consequences. It creates a huge, brief energy high followed by long, drawn-out energy lows, where we're more likely to feel anxious, panicky, hangry, depressed. If you wanted to create the worst possible blood sugar profile, feeds consisting of mainly maltodextrin would be the way to do it. The stuff is just terrible. But there are even more unpleasant effects of formula, which brings us to number 3, the gut. On every gastrostomy social media group, gut issues are the number one thing that people ask about. Constipation, reflux, vomiting. The final straw for us moving to blended diet was when my son vomited feces. Yes, vomited feces. Let's stick with maltodextrin. In his book Ultra Processed People, Chris Van Tulleken writes about how research has shown that it can cause chronic inflammation of the bowels and Crohn's disease. So, not only does it play havoc with blood sugar, but also causes IBD, inflammatory bowel disease, which makes it even more difficult for the intestines to take in the already hard to absorb synthetic substances in formula. Not only does maltodextrin inflame the lining of the intestine, it also destroys the gut bacteria that keep our digestion healthy, causing constipation, diarrhea, reflux. We saw all these problems. With blended diet, chronic constipation, the reflux, the bad breath, the really nasty stools all disappeared just about overnight. Well, it's not right for everyone. When we switched 100% to blended diet, it was like night and day. But it's not just the evils of maltodextrin. The intestines also need fibre. Fibre comes in two varieties, soluble and insoluble. Every morning, blended diet can be packed with the soluble fibre found in fruit like bananas, berries, apples and pears. It smooths the digestion, softens the stool and feeds the gut bacteria that helps everything else. On the other hand, vegetables provide the insoluble fibres that bulk out the stool, helping it retain moisture and move easily through the intestine. Between these two fibres, the gut can regulate itself. Unsurprisingly, a natural, high-fibre diet without a huge chunk of toxic maltodextrin can set all these problems right. Reason number 4, immunity. Experiments also show that maltodextrin reduces the body's immune response to bacteria. Salmonella and E. coli flourish in maltodextrin. Anecdotally, our boy is much healthier, fewer colds, less coughing, more resilient. The only data I could find on this is from the York study, which showed that kids on blended diet had fewer admissions to hospital than those on formula. It's well worth a read, the link is in the description. 70% of the immune system is in the gut. The maltodextrin, lack of fibre, processed ingredients and emulsifiers in formula play havoc with the proper functioning of this vital system. All the fruit, vegetables, lentils, oats and yogurt give lots of fibre and probiotics. Vitamin C in berries supports white blood cells and reduces inflammation. Zinc in meat and seeds helps immune cell function. Vitamin A in carrots and sweet potatoes strengthens the gut lining. Vitamin D in fish and egg yolks regulates immune response. And if some of this is missing and the blended diet isn't a perfect regime, it doesn't matter. It will still be better than your formula. 5. Personalization. Here it is. A giant brown cardboard box of factory-produced astronaut food, a science boffin's medical miracle, the culmination of centuries of chemical and biological research, apparently everything the body needs, synthesized and mixed into a metallic bag, perfectly replicable, a lab rat's fantasy dream of nutritional perfection. Now don't get me wrong, if the apocalypse hits, I wouldn't turn this stuff down for a second. But in this case, science has a long way to go. The real-world negative consequences, short-term and long-term, that Tubies and their families have to deal with as a result of formula show that this is not good for us. For so many of us, formula is a literal lifesaver, deliverance from the terror that comes with the news that you, or someone you love, can't eat. But what about when there's a birthday cake that someone wants to share with a Tubie? Or when a whole family is sitting around a celebratory feast and it's meaningful and inclusive and fun and you want to share that? Or when neighbours bring around a basket of beans they've grown in their back garden and they're firm and luminous green and full of fibrous health? Or when there are leftovers from a party at a friend's house that everyone has loved and enjoyed sharing? We have so many phrases we take from the act of sharing food. You break bread, you are what you eat, you're the apple of my eye, you're the best thing since sliced bread. They show how important food is as a cultural, social part of our lives. And blended diet brings Tubies into that world with the mouth eaters around them. When so much of Tubies' lives can be detached and medicalised, blended diet is just more human and natural. So, if you're a seasoned blender and have another reason that you're going blended is good, then please leave a tip for me below. Or if you're thinking about starting blended diet, please ask a question. Happy blending.